qualified first place for this race. Last video we're doing things similarly and we fixed a few weight compensation values that were off by a bit, and we qualified very good for this race. And we can see a few people didn't start on dry tires, which is the obvious choice for this race. You can see the lap time is much quicker. You can see that after the dry pit stop we are in first place and we have the best performance. And we can see we are pulling ahead of others, and a lot of people had to change their tires prematurely. You can see some of the top contenders like Ethan had changed their tires and are doing a free pit stop, and that ruined their chances of winning. And they didn't even have the pace when they used the softer tire compared to us. And we actually won this race by about 30 seconds or so. And it was easy race for us, and it all had to do with the combination of optimizing our weight compensation values and setup, and having the fastest car out of the top contenders. And if we don't have all of those added together, then we only might win by maybe 10 seconds or even be behind Zukas. So we definitely know it makes a huge difference. We can see that our best lap time was 0.1 seconds slower than Clint. Otherwise we could have gotten the fastest lap and get paid 1 million for it. Now if we compare to our teammates, we are 2 seconds quicker, 2 minutes, and that's quite a big gap. We can see that we placed top 84 out of all of the managers in the same class, and only 2 minutes slower, which is quite good. And if we look at the race results, for this track our driver mistake was quite low, only about 0.8 maximum during the setup. And we went off track once by ourselves during a track mistake, and then we actually had the second mistake, which we normally do in races, then we would have lost like 7 or 10 seconds and it wouldn't make our result look as good as it is. This race our driver gained a lot of reputation for extra points. We were able to drain all of our stamina, and if we look at the last few laps, it didn't have much or any impact on our lap times. If we look at our sponsors, our sponsor was ready, but when we picked our sponsor we were anticipating that we will run out of sponsorship with our current one, so we want something to replace this most expensive place. But then that actually backfired on us because we're actually losing 3 million or so by not accepting a sponsor as quickly as possible. Maybe about half of that 1.5 million, because other parts might have a bit lower sponsorship amount. And then because we finished negotiating, then we chose this new sponsor, and this sponsor virtually has everything, so it's going to pay highly. We're going to train our driver again, and just the same thing to keep reducing weight. If we look at our staff, surprisingly our staff dropped quite a few points of stats already. And last season we didn't see much or any stats drop because we trained our staff a bit. Now if we look at the standings, 2Cast has recently done some testing labs, but the optimum time to test is only at the start of the season. Then you can either remove the facilities or keep them. If it's very difficult and everyone's competitive, we can just remove the facilities after the first few races and save a lot of money and still get the extra car performance. We gained 2 extra points compared to 2Cast and 7 more compared to Ethan. 2Cast doesn't seem like our biggest threat for the past few races because we're consistently similar if not better, and we were never a huge gap behind them. And only Ethan sometimes, because he's always number 1 and we have huge gap to him sometimes, so he was a concern that we may not be able to beat him in the season. But he made 2 huge mistakes for the previous 2 races and lost a lot of points relative to us, so it made life much easier. We're going to look at the car parts, and we can see surprisingly our engine will make it to the end of this race, and if we replace with level 4 engine we wouldn't have made it. And the level 5 not only faster and can downgrade the parts in future to last few more races, definitely will pay off. And we can see this race is virtually same as Indianapolis, and it's all about the power and the car, and we did very well. And especially this time with like 2 or 1 more engine level, we'll do even better. And it's good that we have this better engine for it. So we're going to upgrade the car parts that need to be replaced. While we could potentially downgrade the electronics to save money and fix our fuel economy, and we lose a lot of time compared to downgrading other parts, so we won't do that. And we can see after the update our car become a bit more balanced because we got more acceleration and handling. I'm going to copy the wear into my calculator tool. Now we look at our mailbox. During the Indianapolis race, because we finished top 10, we automatically entered the world champion for the rookie class. And then we look at the standings for our class. We can see that we ranked top 30 out of 44, and I was expecting, because we didn't finish, we finished just average for the Indianapolis, and there were many other managers I was expecting to be like virtually down the bottom, but we're not exactly bottom, and have better standings than we anticipated. If we look at the top first manager in rank 1, we can see they just joined the game, so I don't really get how they can be performing so well. It seems a bit fishy. I wouldn't really believe it because normally it might be many seasons in pro before you get the experience required to do so well. And if we look at the person in the second position right now, they have played the game a lot and they have been to pro before, so it does make sense that they are winning, but we don't really get why they've lost so many times in a row for their past 2 seasons in rookie. And if we look at their money, they virtually drained all of their money. And if we look at the driver, we see the same thing. Both of them have low weight. If we look at the track characteristic for this race, it suggests 1 or 2 pit stop. And we can see the value is 1.33, and the value for 2 stop is 1.43. So it's suggesting we need to do a 2 pit stop. If we look at the calculator tool, we can do it using the medium tires. And we can see that we want to do a 23, 22, 21 lap and have 2 extra laps compared to the total. And we entered the fuel required. And we're going to find the setup for the car. Calculated final setup, and we're going to find the wing split. With 100 split compared to 50, the 50 had a bit better time, so we're going to do a 40 split. We entered the setup required. We entered the fuel required. If we look at our overall qualifying, it seems okay. Out of 1200 qualified, we're top 100 and top 70 overall. And if we compare our lap times only to top 5, then we're only 2.5 seconds slower combined. And if we look at Q2 times, about 1.7 seconds and 1.1 seconds slower than Q1. So that's a superb qualifying time. Despite having the fastest car and a very light driver, 2 people had similar qualifying time in Q1, and we were a bit slower in Q2, potentially due to just driver mistake or they're doing more pit stops. After the car update, we still have the fastest car, and we can see our rival's car is a bit behind compared to us in the performance because it's not power based. We entered the field for 23, 22, 21 laps. I'm going to reduce the wear comp by 5% because we forgot to do the race analyzation for this race. We're going to do it now. If we look at the car parts, we have a bit more wear compared to the actual wear. It's probably just 1 point more, and the other parts with large deviation of 4 is probably due to calculator inaccuracy. So our car weight is virtually in spec, but we look at the average, our car weight was 2 points more compared to the calculator. And if we look at the lap times, virtually throughout the entire stint, the lap times were the same, and we didn't see much or any time loss in the last few laps when we ran out of stamina. It's less than 0.5 seconds, and we want to reduce the wear compensation a bit more so we can be a bit slower in the last few laps and be a bit quicker in the first few. and that would be more optimal. We entered the setup for the race, and our driver probably not going to recover stamina fully, so we just going to keep the risk the same for now.